Youth groups in Chicago are calling out CPS for having too strict of discipline policies that especially target African American students. Voices of Youth in Chicago Education released a study in March that states African American students were 30 times more likely to be expelled than their white counterparts in 2013. Meanwhile, according to the U.S. Department of Education, black teenage boys are more likely to be suspended than any other group. Tay Alderman, a volunteer coordinator from the Lundale Christian Legal Center, stated,
one thing is, young people are going to get in trouble, right? Mm-hmm. I know I did when I was younger here and there. But I had people, a support system, to come around me, surround me and say, hey, you make a mistake, that's okay, but let's learn from that mistake. Mm-hmm. Instead of having one mistake and possibly, and not to generalize, but possibly that mistake can snowball, right? Mm-hmm.
Real Shy Youth also spoke with Jamie Leanne Adams, a student at Roosevelt High School and a voice participant, and she had this to say.
Well, one thing that needs to be done is people, teachers, more students, parents, community members, principals, everyone, they need to understand what's actually happening and not what's just sugar-coated and then given to the public. It's the work that I also do with Voices of Youth in Chicago Education. We ask, we demand that data transparency, and we make sure that gets out to the public, the real, hard, non-sugar-coated facts get out to the people.
Students are becoming more and more frustrated with receiving unnecessary detentions and suspensions. Reflecting on their personal experiences, Miriam Bhangra from Voice stated,
I talked about how my teacher referred to me when I was sitting in class. He came up to me and said, go up to the board. And I actually refused. I said, no, I was not going up to the board because at that day, I was not feeling right. I was going through personal situations at home, and I didn't just want to go up to the board. But normally, I participate in classwork. But he did not, I guess he didn't understand that. So he came up rudely to me, started spitting off and talking to me in an angry manner. And and I said, stop yelling at me. I was already mad at that moment. And then he started pointing his fingers at me. And then that's why I got embarrassed in front of the class. And so I talked back. I said, if you don't stop, I'm gonna hit you. That's the response I said. So he immediately called the security guard to come get me out of class. And I actually refused. I said, no, I'm not getting off the class because I felt like I did nothing wrong at that point.
Yes, or when I walked into the school, they opened your book bag and they searched through all your stuff, and they found a pack of gum in my book bag and made me pay $1 per piece that I had. And then they gave me detention from 8th period for 2 days, and I had to pay for those detentions. It made me feel like school was failing me. I'm supposed to be there to learn, and I do something like bring gum to school, and you're gonna take me away from class as a punishment, and then get mad at me when my grades aren't as high as you want them to be.
For me, honestly, I focus on my family. So when I see my family struggles, I think about that. I said, no, I can't give up. Because if I really want to help my family, this is not time to give up. I have to keep going and keep going, no matter what.
Voice has been working on detention and suspension projects. When asked about their recent projects at Voice, Jose Sanchez, a leader and youth coordinator from Voice, had this to say.
One of the things that Voice is working on now is kind of making sure that we raise the bar for what students can be suspended for a little higher at the state level through policy. So one of the things that we're wanting to do is mostly making sure that students are only arrested. If students are arrested in schools, it's only for felonies and some major misdemeanors like beating up your teacher or sexually assaulting someone.
Students are now looking to working with CPS and changing their policies. From Real Shy Youth, this is Johnny Throw.